Hey, Stu.
Tom, how's it going?
Arizona Day, buddy.
All right.
Just saw a bobcat walking on my wall out here. He trolls the place about this time of day. We
Cool.
probably have every species known to the Sonoran Desert down here. Probably lives up in this rock pile behind us.
So a real bobcat, was it big?
Uh, I'd say 25 pounds probably.
Oh, okay. All right. Not like a
But bobcats.
gigantic mountain lion.
Yeah, it's not
Got it. Got it.
not not mountain lion.
Gotcha.
They're very cool, by the way. For those that haven't seen them, they're a very cool animal.
Yeah.
So what we're doing today is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith, podcast 19. And this is about constructing workouts, Stu. So this is my ability to ask the expert random questions about building workouts.
Okay, cool.
So if you just relax there, pal, and I'm going to start firing questions at you. So,
Okay.
we spent time talking about periodization. I think people probably have that down pretty well.
Okay.
But what I'd like to get at is you're looking at a week, and for whatever reason, you decide, I'm going to try to build this myself.
Okay.
How would somebody do that, Stu? How would they look at themselves and say, all right, I want to build a workout schedule for myself this week? How would they start to think about it?
Right. Well, when I write workouts for people or myself for that matter, I have to first take into account how much time I have per day to train. If I'm going to train every day, how am I going to arrange that? If depending on what my facilities are, do I have a weight room or do I just do calisthenics and a run or a walk? Do I have a TRX or kettlebells or dumbbells, or do I have a full weight set, machines for cardio? What do you have for your facilities? So you got time and facilities, and then your ability, what are you able to do? And then from there, and, what are your goals? What are your future goals? So I have to take all that into consideration when I create workout programs. And you can do it a couple of different ways. I have a couple of systems that I use, or I should say I have one system, but it allows for a variety of setups.
Okay.
So if you break down a workout, right, your whole body can do a few things. It can do pushing exercises, which you're pushing things away from you, whether you are pushing things away from you in this plane away from your chest, or you're pushing things over your head, or actually pushing yourself off the ground with your legs or your hands. So that can be a leg day as well, if you want to look at it that way. So just push. We typically save all the push exercises for upper body. And then same thing for pulling. You got to pull yourself off the ground. You have to pull something towards you. So that's working another set of muscles. So the first one's being more chest, shoulders, tricep exercises. That's your pushing exercises. And then you have your back and your bicep muscles and your grip muscles that are going to be pulling things towards you. So I got a little saying, I use push, pull, leg is next. So any leg exercises, squats, lunges, calisthenics, weights, dumbbells, just walking up a flight of steps or a hill, I would count those as leg days. Swimming with fins, I would count those as leg days as well. So push, pull, leg, full. Then you got a full body option. This one's a little bit more in depth. A calisthenic full body, I would consider the burpee, right? It's a good full body exercise. You can also combine squats and push-ups together in a combination where you do one squat, one push-up, one squat, one push-up. You got yourself a full body, movement. The multi-joint dumbbell exercise, that's a good way to do full body exercises if you're not used to doing things with barbells. Barbells are the real winners on the full body days, because you got, squats, which is still legs, but you're still working your back and your shoulders. You got deadlifts, hang cleans, push press, snatches, all of those exercises are your push press, even, over your head. You're going to squat push a little bit. It's more of an upper body day, but you still have to use your legs to get it over your head. So I would consider that a full body exercise. And then you have core. So it goes like this: push, pull, leg full, core. Those are the 5 things. And then the 6th one being cardio. So we got 6 elements, really, if you think about it. And then you have to take those 6 types of exercises, and figure out what you're trying to do with them. Are you trying to get stronger? So you're going to go more weight, less repetitions. So you might want to put on a weight vest if you're going to do the calisthenic version, right? To do that with less repetitions. Or you're going to try to build muscle endurance and, take off all the weight and just do calisthenics or very light barbells or dumbbell exercises for high repetitions. And then, figure out what are you trying to do for your cardio? Are you trying to go long distance, trying to go speed, some intervals, fast, slow intervals, a little combination of everything? Or are you trying to focus on a 1.5 mile timed run? Are you trying to focus on a 500-yard swim, or a 1 mile swim with fins? So what are you trying to do? If you're trying to do both, you can do both too in the same week as well. We typically break up the week now. We'll take all those elements into consideration. We'll break up the week where we'll do upper body one day. So that's your push, pull, and core, and cardio. And then the next day, we'll save it for legs and maybe full, depending on the day, full body exercises mixed with cardio. And on these days, they're really set up real well to do what we call our Specops Leg Day, where if you think about a Specops Leg Day, you're going to run, you're going to ruck, and you're going to swim with fins. So all of those are a great way to work the legs, just a little bit differently than you would, say, doing squats and deadlifts in the weight room. Just a different way to work the legs. So it depends on your goals. Are you trying to get stronger and build up your muscles so you can handle rucking better? You need to get in the weight room and do squats and deadlifts and hang cleans and things like that. So, and then the next day, you just kind of repeat your day 1 and day 2. You go back into upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. That's one way to do it. Now, the next way to do it would be to do full body days where you do everything one day. Okay. And you just take the next day, and it can be a mobility day, it can be a cardio day, maybe a non-impact cardio day, or it can be your long run day if you're trying to get better at your long runs or rucks, and throw in a swim there at the back end and make that your long swim. And you just alternate that. So full body one day, cardio the next. Full body one day, cardio the next. And there's all types of different variations. You could mix those 2 weeks together, and even, the first few days be a full body and a cardio. The next day can be an upper body, then a lower body. So it really kind of depends on your flavor of the week. You don't want to do the same thing over and over again where it's upper body one day, lower body next, upper body one day, or just full body one day and cardio the next. You don't want to do that for too long. I tend to try to break it up, every couple of weeks, and maybe transition out of split routines where you're doing upper body, lower body splits, and turn it into a full body cardio cycle for a couple of weeks. And I find that to be somewhat refreshing, for me, as for doing them, as well as for the clients or the students that we are working with. It gives them a good variety of workouts, because you can really add in a lot of neat work capacity with any of those variations, if you think about it. And it's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to build work capacity. So when you go into a selection program that is all day long, there is no 30-minute weight room workout that is going to prepare you for a day of SEAL training. Yeah. Just not, you got to put in the time. So some of these workouts might be an hour, might top it off with another hour, an hour and a half full of cardio, running, swimming, biking, elliptical, whatever you need to do. If you're banged up, do more of the non-impact stuff. But if you're going Army, you definitely need to run and put on a backpack and ruck, especially Ranger, SF world. So yeah, it kind of really depends on what your goals are to how you want to set these things up. But, the rule is you got to give your body a little bit of time to rest, even when you're working out this hard. So if you notice how I set that up is like one day it's upper body, one day it's lower body. Well, during that lower body, I'm resting my upper body. I'm not doing a lot of high repetition calisthenics or heavy weights on the following day that, where a lot of people screw up because they'll do weightlifting one day and calisthenics the next.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've seen that so many times where people say, hey, I do all my weight training one day and I do my calisthenics for the PT test the next, and I'm not seeing any results. I said, well, you need to do them all in the same day because it's all the same muscle groups, because you're never really resting when you go bench press and pull downs and rows, and then you go into push-ups and pull-ups and dips, the next day. And then the next day you do it again with weights and you do it again with calisthenics. You never really rest. And the only way you're going to grow is if you're resting, and resting with a recovery day, or, giving your body about 48 hours before you work that same muscle group again.
So that leads me to the next question. So you have a system that you developed, which is the push-pull workouts.
Yes.
So describe how one uses that approach, what it is, and how one uses that approach.
So the push-pull?
Yeah.
Well, I use the push-pull as an upper body day. Like if you're a bodybuilder, sometimes bodybuilders will just go do all their push exercises in one day. They'll do their chest exercises or shoulders and maybe just their triceps. Or they'll save their arms all for one day and do their biceps and triceps one day. This is along the same lines of that kind of split routine mentality. However, it enables you to work your upper body fully, up to 3 times a week. So I typically do it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However, if Monday and Wednesday were pretty hard and I'm still feeling it on Thursday and Friday, I'll do a cardio day on Friday and then have a really good one on Saturday. So
yep.
They're real flexible, and you got to listen to your body on exactly how you need to recover, because some days you're not quite ready for day 5. And you might need to throw in that non-impact mobility day and go swim and just kind of let yourself recover a little bit and then hit day 6 really hard.
So Stu, there's another one that you do periodically when you want to get somebody to move their numbers on pushes and pulls from where they are to doubling them in a short time, right? The push-push approach.
Yes.
Right. So go through that and when that's appropriate to use and how you use it.
That's a really good question, because as you just heard me go on and almost rant about you want every other day to rest, this is really the opposite of that. This is what I kind of call my boot camp theory, because in boot camp, for some odd reason, or buds even, you do push-ups every single day, Monday through Friday, or sometimes, depending on the training, you'll go 7 days a week. And you're going to do push-ups because that's how they punish you. They make you do push-ups. Yeah. And somehow at the end of this boot camp, you are much better at push-ups than you were when you started. Typically. Now, if you're really good when you start, you're probably going to have negative effects throughout boot camp because you're already peaked. So what boot camp theory really is, if you're not really peaked at your push-ups or pull-ups, you can do this little daily push-up, pull-up routine for about 10 days is my program. And it's called the pull-up push and the push-up push. And I'll put links to the article in the description for everybody. But basically it works like this. You take your max push-ups that you can do in a 2-minute test. Let's say you're at 40 push-ups. And you have to multiply that by 4 or 5, somewhere in that region. And so that's going to give you 160 to 200 push-ups that you have to do every day for 10 days straight. So once you do that, after 10 days, you take 3 days off, no pushing whatsoever. And if you're doing this for pull-ups, same deal, no pulling for 3 days. You can still run and swim and lift weights and do legs and things like that, but you can't do any pushing or pulling depending on the push or pull workout you're doing. And then on day 14, you test. And typically, I will see anywhere between 50 and 100% increase in push-ups and pull-ups. Now, I know you did it. You were one of my first guys that ever did it over 50.
Yep.
And you saw what? What were your results?
I tripled.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, Stu, it was because it's again the mental thing. I don't think I pushed myself hard enough at first, even when I was testing.
Okay.
Right. And I think that's again one of those things that you just do. But yeah, no, I tripled on both.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty good because I was a little hesitant of like letting you start that because I wasn't sure how much growth would be worth it, for someone over 50.
Yep.
But since then, I've seen several people over 50, even 60, get 100% increase, even a little bit more. Typically, though, if you're pretty good, you're not going to see 100% increase. So let's say you're at 50 or 60. It's real hard to see 100% increase to get 100 or 120 push-ups. So typically, obviously, you're going to have about a 50, maybe even a little bit less increase. But it's going to take you from 50 to 60 to 80 or 90. And that's a good goal. Now, some people, they don't see any results on this. It's not the perfect system. But you know what I tell people all the time, you got what you paid for, right? Because it's free out there on the internet, and it works for some people. It doesn't work for everybody. I would say, however, most people it works for if you do it correctly. And the way I recommend doing it is taking those 10 days that you do daily push-ups and change it up a little bit. So one day your normal workout may give you 200 push-ups, right? Like the 40 times 5 may give you 200 push-ups because you're doing a pyramid workout. That's enough push-ups right there. You don't need to add any more. However, your normal workout will not have you doing push-ups. That's when you have to add 200 push-ups to that day's workout. It might just be a leg day, or it might be a cardio day, whatever your workout says. The thing that people screw up on this is they only do push-ups for 10 days and they don't do anything else. So you don't want to do it that way either. This is a supplemental plan that goes into your workout program.
And just so people understand, what had happened was I had melanoma surgery on my shoulder, right? And a big gash out of my shoulder. So I could not do anything for a long time. And then when I started trying to do pull-ups and push-ups, I was really reluctant to push myself, right? So that, so I would imagine, Stu, that if I had just started like right now and did the test and then did it, I probably could maybe see twice. But the reason I was 3 times was because I was really reluctant to pull around with my shoulder.
Plus, you had a really strong foundation before.
Yeah.
Your surgery. So you are already up there. You just went back to your old max.
Yeah,
really what
exactly.
happened. So
yes, that's exactly
why you
right.
saw a doubling, tripling versus, like for someone who's a intermediate to beginner person that might be stuck at 20 push-ups or 40 push-ups, you can see a good 100% or more increase and get into the 40s and 50s zone. It's just like people who start at 80 and do this.
Oh, there's no way. No.
Now if you do the math, that's 400 push-ups
there's no way.
10 days.
Right.
I have seen people go from 80 to 100, which is a goal. A lot of people are stuck at 80, and it's one way to kind of push you off of that plateau. So just realize that at some point it becomes a little too much and you're not going to see progress. So if you're stuck at 90 and you're trying to get 100, there's better ways to do it than this 10-day program. I would recommend doing like pyramid sets and max rep sets, throughout your week. So, every other day you're doing, something that's going to push that 95 to 100 rep, muscle stamina endurance that you're trying to do. Because really what you're trying to do here is you're taking a strength exercise in the push-up and the pull-up and making it an endurance exercise. And that's really what we're trying to do here. And it's just the overload principle. You're just pushing yourself. You break everything down for about 10 days without really breaking it down long term. Like if you went for 30 or 40 days, it would probably not be as beneficial to you. and then you take that 3-day off because that's all you really need after 10 days of push, about 3 days off, and then you test again, and typically that test puts everything into motion. You've recovered, you're ready to go, you've gotten the habit down of doing push-ups properly now, and next thing you know, you're crushing more push-ups than you ever have.
So Stu, when you and I started in this game, we were given workouts to do that was the same workout. So, I just remember, that I was given, okay, here's what you do Monday through Friday. It's the same. There's a Monday workout, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and it was constructed properly. I think Scott Helvenston did it actually, and it's got push and it was push and sit, and then it was pull in the second day,
right?
Along with aerobics, and then you had an aerobics day, and then it repeated. So, and that stayed that way, and that was what you did. And that's not what you do today. So describe for people how we've evolved beyond that kind of, I do the same thing for 4 years.
That's a good question. Because I remember growing up, doing the same weight room workout for a long period of time. Monday through Friday, that's what I did. And the only changes that I made with those were just heavier weights. So there's nothing wrong with, if you think about doing the same old thing over and over again, as long as you're seeing growth and it's working for you, who am I to judge? If you're seeing results, you can't argue with results. However, what we try to do is, when you're doing your push, pull, leg full, core, cardio, it's hard to miss anything because a lot of times people are just working arms one day. You're missing out on core, you're missing out on some cardio, you're missing out on, other elements that you could be working on. I find that, when you're a tactical athlete, especially, you have to be good at everything. So you still have to work on your strength and power and endurance and muscle stamina, flexibility, mobility. All of those have to be intertwined into your week. So they're never neglected over long periods of time. Right. When we talk about a workout of the day, really it has to fit into a workout plan of the year. And that's where periodization comes in. And that's why we change things up every quarter. We change the workout design up regularly, sometimes every week, sometimes every other week. It just depends on really how the group is looking and if they're ready to progress and move on to a different style of workout.
Stu, how do you incorporate, for example, the TRX, because you and I love the TRX. How are you incorporating it into your workout design? Why do you incorporate it? What's the secret behind the TRX? How does it benefit people?
I find the TRX is really good. It's a good way to replace weights or transition into a weight cycle. So if you're doing a lot of calisthenics now and you want to do fewer repetitions, kind of like what we do in the spring and the fall, as we transition from weights to calisthenics, or we're transitioning from calisthenics back to weights, it works really well to, one, decrease your repetitions of the same exercises you're doing, but it also adds a core element in everything you do. The atomic push-up, for one. It makes push-ups harder, but it also works your core twice as hard. Rows or high rows or reverse flies, all these things are basically can be done with dumbbells and barbells or machines even. You're just doing them with TRXs, and it's roughly about the same thing. So I find it a good replacement, some days, to just do it, or it's a good transition to go from high rep calisthenics to fewer rep calisthenics before you get into heavier weights and even fewer reps, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So one of the things that you talk about is what equipment do you have with you? The TRX can go with you anywhere. When I traveled around the world a lot, I took it with me all the time. You can put it on the door of a hotel room, and you can do things that you can't do with just raw calisthenics. And I even tell you, sometimes out here in Arizona, I just hook it up to the roll bar of my Jeep and you can do it there. So it's another way of adding a whole set of capabilities with you when you're not at your base location.
Yes, and if you think about the body, push, pull, leg, full, core, cardio, you can do all of it. I mean, even cardio, you do you do a lot of
Crazy stuff.
TRX push-ups. I mean, that's the most anaerobic exercise I've done in a while. It's like burpees. But yeah, I mean, so you can definitely you can work all those muscle groups. And if you're banged up a little bit and you can't do body weight squats or weighted squats, the TRX actually makes squats easier for you because it's pulling probably about 30 to 40% of your body weight up in your arms, while you're hanging on to the grips and you do a squat. So it's an easier squat or lunge for you if you're kind of nursing a knee injury or something like that.
So Stu, if you were going to articulate the 5 to 8 fundamental exercises that people have to incorporate at some point in what they're doing to be a tactical athlete, what would they be?
Woo. 5, say that again, 5 to 8?
5 or 10, 8, 5 to 10.
8 exercises that you need to do to be a tactical athlete. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do this. Let's break it down into the elements of fitness. Strength. Okay, you need to be able to lift things off the ground and carry them. Carry people over your shoulders, fireman carry, just regular equipment carry, weapons, rucks, those type of things. So, your strength is probably, I have always thought, that's why I wrote this book, Tactical Strength here, is because it's that important. I would say strength is probably the foundation of all of them. Because if you don't have strength, you can't do the other things very well either. So strength will allow you to make movements with extra weight on, whether you're doing deadlifts or squats or bench press or pull downs, whatever weighted exercise you're going to do, that will help build the core, that allows you to actually do these movements, moving with weight, for one. So you need strength. Power, very simple, can be rather quick. So it might be a quick power, that starts off your speed, right, or your agility. Like think about where power would start. If you're wearing an extra 50, 60 pounds, bullets start flying, and now you have to run to cover really quickly. That requires, instant power. So exercises like, box jumps or walking up and down stairs real fast, plyometrics type exercises. Some of those will help you with developing the power to be able to move fast, through a certain distance. Speed and agility, those are critical as well. So you would have to practice your runs, practice shuttle runs, practice agility exercises, practice, obstacle courses. All of those exercises there are very important for the speed and agility, process. What do you got? Endurance, running, swimming, rucking. Those are probably the 3 main exercises you need to do to build up your endurance. Sometimes that's fast runs. Sometimes it's long, slow runs. Rucks are usually long and heavy. So not only do you need the endurance, but you need that strength to be able to endure, long, heavy rucks. And then swimming. Swimming can be a challenge too, because if you're going long, you're probably swimming with a big pair of fins on. So your legs have to be ready, your ankles have to be ready, and that requires some ankle mobility. So your mobility in your knees, hips, ankles, lower back, shoulders, all of those places right there, and flexibility of the muscles that connect them, are also critical. So stretching, taking a mobility day, full range of motion exercises, all of those, so take full advantage of your warm-up time and your cool down time, in a workout. Those are the times where you want to work your muscles through a full range of motion and stretch them and flex them and, work your joints. So I think we've hit them all. We hit strength, power, speed, agility, endurance, muscle stamina. Forgot about that one. Muscle stamina is basically your calisthenics.
Yeah.
You are now taking a strength exercise of the pull-up. Your first pull-up you ever do is a strength exercise. Your 10th or 20th pull-up that you do in a set is now muscle stamina. We nickname it endurance. So you're basically taking a strength exercise and adding muscle stamina to it so you can keep going. And where muscle stamina really comes in is the next set. Like if you can do 20 in one set, how many can you do on your second set? You know, are you up to 18 or 19? So you're only losing about, 5% of your muscle stamina, or do you drop all the way down to 8 after you've done it and you've lost over half your muscle stamina? So those are things that you can use to gauge where you are on the spectrum of strength and power and speed and agility and muscle stamina, endurance and flexibility and mobility. Those are the big things that you need to look at as a tactical athlete. And then what exercises from there can you add to your workout to enhance all of them? Because you have to be good at all of them. You can't just be great at one, and we typically are. You and I probably have a strength that we love to do because you know why it's good for us? Because we love to do it.
Yeah.
If we sucked at it, probably wouldn't love to do it.
That's true.
What these tactical athlete programs do, like tactical fitness and tactical strength and the Navy SEAL workouts and things like that, SWAT workouts, they allow you to also enhance your weaknesses so they're not going to be a weakness for you.
Yeah. And you're now getting to the summary of this, and we'll unfortunately have to continue this in another podcast, but the net of this one is that it is complex. If you're doing this, which our listeners and watchers are doing, you're doing this for a job. When you're doing it for a job, it's complicated because you need to have all those capabilities covered. And that's where it's really helpful to have a well thought through program that you use that incorporates all that. Because what you just articulated, most of us couldn't figure out how to design in 1 week, Stu. Right. And you're not trying to do that. Right.
Right. Well, the hard part about it is, what I just said too, is just the tip of the iceberg of creating workouts, because, one workout isn't for everybody. Even these books, I mean, this workout is not personally designed for you. This is a generic program that has worked for many people. However, when you take a book or an ebook or a program written by somebody else that's not specifically for you, you have to do the altering to it, because you may not be able to do 100 pull-ups in a workout. So you have to figure out, well, what am I going to do to get 100 pull-ups in this workout? I may be able to get 25, so I'm going to have to supplement pull downs and rows or bicep curls to get those 100 repetitions. And that's how we recommend altering workouts. Whenever you do, purchase a book or a program, you have to figure out how to, change them up to fit your fitness level and your goals.
And the beauty, I mean, obviously you do this for me, is you build that into mine to help me extend these things and build them. So Stu, we have to cut this one off because we're running over our time.
Okay.
We'll continue this, but one of the things that I think is worth just a couple of comments about is the issue of muscle stamina. And to me, this is where you can test your mental toughness.
Oh,
because right. So I can tell that like yesterday I was jet lagged. Arrived home 2:30 in the morning, had to be up at 4:00 because I had to, get started East Coast time, and did, as you know, I spent the day in board meetings and then all that. And I ended up working out, doing the workout, one of the workouts you had me scheduled to do for yesterday. And I just could not do the reps because my mind I could not get myself to do it. What was interesting though, second and third sets, I was doing many more reps before failure than I did the first set. That's what tells you when it's all mental and you're not.
Probably after jet lag and, a hard, weekend, of travel and working out too. I'm sure you might've been sore from a previous workout, and then you throw in jet lag on top of it and just tired. It might take you a couple sets just to warm up.
Yeah.
So yeah, your first couple of sets may not be as optimal as you would like, but the key is that you kept trying and it got better. As soon as your body started warming up, it got better. And I guarantee you felt better after it was over versus having skipped it and just still feeling jet lagged all day. This is probably a great way to acclimate right into your new, time zone. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's, the best way to transition, from time zone to time zone is to be able to go, get that workout in. We used to always just go run before, as soon as we landed, we just go for a run, and just get it in and shake it all off and get it all taken care of. So, yeah, I think you definitely felt better by doing that.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, buddy, we got to cut this off, unfortunately. We'll continue this discussion in another one. This is Tactical Fitness Report with Stu Smith, podcast 19, Constructing Workouts, part 1.
All right, cool. Thanks, Tom.
Later, pal.